Hey guys, John here. So we're going to get together and talk a little bit about the Manley VOXBOX. So what is the VOXBOX? Well, essentially a fine channel strip offering from Manley. So let's look at this in two separate sections actually. So we've got the preamp compressor section along with the de-esser and EQ. All right, so let's start at the pre. Obviously, we have our standard controls for preamps. We've got our input, which controls the overall level into the actual preamp. We've got our gain selection, which controls the amount of negative feedback. Okay. We've also got our instrument input. All right. Next to that, we have our phase reversal, which also has that line input selection, which a neat tip here, you can actually use that to mute your microphone signal. If you're changing microphones, that sort of thing. Once I select line input, it mutes the microphone input. Obviously, we can reverse the phase with that as well. We have our low frequency roll off at 80 hertz and 120 hertz, and obviously our phantom power selection there. Okay. Right in the middle, we've got that fairly large VU meter there. Okay, we actually have a number of different settings that we can put that on as far as monitoring gain reduction for the compressor, input to the preamp, output, so on and so forth. The de-esser reduction, of course, as well. Compressor, standard compression controls here. We've got a fixed ratio of 3:1, okay, with the Manley LAP compressor here. We've got our attack and release controls, our threshold, obviously. We can bypass this if we'd like. And above that, we've also got a link function here. So if I happen to have two VOXBOXes, I would be able to link those guys together and maintain consistency with our compression and gain reduction, that sort of thing. All right, moving along to the second part of the unit, we have our de-esser and we have our EQ. De-esser, we can look at this guy at 3K, 6K, 9K, and 10K. As our frequency selections there. We also have the option to set this as a limiter at 10:1. I'll go back and tell you a little bit of information about that in a second there. Obviously our bypass with the de-esser and our threshold control. Our EQ bypass and EQ in. This is our Pultec-style EQ section here with a low and high peak with our mid dip. So as I increase this knob, I'm actually decreasing the selected frequency there. Now, we spoke about this as being two separate sections here. I can actually use this section alone on its own, the preamp and the compressor. With that said, I can also use this section on its own. So if I'd like to take the EQ and perhaps the limiter and insert that on, say, perhaps a bass track, I can do that as well. But obviously, I can utilize the entire channel strip from, pre to EQ if I'd like as well. One tip, I mentioned lightly a couple of minutes ago, what I like to do is when I utilize the compressor here for vocals, I'll come over to the limiter, put that on a limit mode. So I've got the 3:1 compressor and I've also got the limiter at 10:1 kind of on top of that to give us a little protection there. Well, with that said, there's the VOXBOX in a nutshell. See you soon.